logging filter. In the preceding lesson, we've discussed the timer filter, which displays the time required for processing a request for a servlet or JSP page. I hope you now know the purpose and methods in the filter interface. Here we will discuss about the log filter. Remember that in the preceding filter we displayed the messages through the standard output. Instead, here we will write the messages in the log file. Here is the code for the filter. As we quoted earlier, the class name is logFilter, which must implement the filter interface. First we create the reference for the filter config and the servlet context. We must implement all the three methods, i.e. init, destroy, and doFilter methods. Inside the init method, we assign the value for the config object, and using the config, we can get the reference to the servlet context and store it in context object. Then, we provide an empty body for the destroy method. Afterwards, we must define our processes inside the doFilter method. When compared to the previous program, here we place the resultant message in the log file instead of the standard output. Thus, we can use the log method in the servlet context. Here, the message includes the host name, URL path, on which date, and the filter name. We retrieved the host name by calling the getRemoteHost method on the request object and the URL path using the getRequestURL method. Similarly, we can get the filter name by calling the getFilterName method on the config object. Using the date class on the java.util package, we have displayed the current date and time. After printing the log message, the filter calls the doFilter method of the filter chain to invoke the next filter in the chain if available. Once we defined the filter, next we must declare the filter in the deployment descriptor. Also, we must declare the URL pattern which should be associated with the filter. First, we declare the filter and filter class elements like this. Next, in the filter mapping element, we gave the value for URL pattern as / and asterisk, which means this filter is associated with all URLs in this web application. Here, we placed our filter in the web application named Wings_filter. Let's get into deployment. Here, we will execute the Hello World servlet, which is in the Wings filter web application. Here is the output, which shows the string Hello World. Well, let's get into a look at the log message that we have written in the application context. In Tomcat Web Server, the log files are located in the Logs folder, which is placed under the Tomcat home directory. This directory contains many files. Among these files, our message will be stored in the file named localhost. Open the file, and here is our log message. Here, 127.0.0.1 represents the local host and the URL that we had given to deploy the Hello World servlet, the date, and the filter time. This logging feature helps us to easily trace the errors or exceptions if any have occurred. We can also understand the flow of deployment, etc.